Hey, everybody. I got a great question from one of my subscribers, Fernando, and he writes, Dear Mr. Noble, thank you for all the great work you do. I love your channel. I got divorced last year and I have a question. Have you ever seen opposing counsel drag out a case, a divorce case, and what did you do about it? That is such a great question. The answer is yes. I've seen it happen where opposing counsel, for whatever reason, either they're getting pummeled or they have a client that they can't control, or like some therapists who never discharge their patient because they just want to keep earning fees. So they just keep it going and going and going. And you know in your heart and in your mind that this case could have and should have settled a long time ago, but they just drag it out. Maybe they overpromised their client and they don't know what to do, so they keep litigating a case that costs 10 times more to litigate than the value is that they might win. And when I see that, I shake my head. Now, it's not the majority of cases, but there's enough where I've seen it more than once where maybe I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, what are you doing? Like, they'll never get a better deal if this goes to litigation, and they just won't settle or they won't respond to a settlement offer. It's sad but true. So what can you do about it? There's a lot of things you can do about it. One is, if there's any way that you can settle the economics of your divorce or settle on a custody schedule before anything's filed, if you're both mature enough to work it out, then give it to a lawyer to draft an order that a judge will sign. This way you don't have to go to court and litigate anything. That's the best way to go, and I see it happen all the time. Even in a high asset divorce, where people have been married a long time, they'll agree and won't want to fight over stupid things. And then I'll draft a marital settlement agreement. Everybody will sign it, give the other side an opportunity to get their own counsel, and it's done. We file it with a divorce complaint. There's nothing to fight over. Two, you can seek mediation. A lot of jurisdictions have mandatory mediation. You could also try a collaborative process in divorce where you go in with your lawyer. It's like a four-way meeting. And if it doesn't settle and one person wants to file a divorce complaint, then all counsel have to leave. That'll usually, you'll get settlement traction that way. But if you just have a bulldog on the other side that really doesn't know what's going on, or they put on a show for their client, and I've seen that happen, I got some inside news for you. Being the bulldog doesn't mean you're going to win. Putting on a show for your client doesn't mean you're going to win. I've litigated cases against, quote, bulldogs in the past. And me, I'm a lifelong hockey player. I love the competition. I love to fight. But as a divorce lawyer, you got to take that hat off and realize what's in the best interest of the client. Is this really worth litigating? And I try to find a way where I can be a consensus builder without giving up ground. And most of the time it works, but sometimes you'll either get an attorney on the other side or a client that he's representing that just wants their day in court. Well, what can you do if that happens? Number one, stay in contact with your lawyer. A lot of jurisdictions have strict deadlines that can move the cases along. A lot of jurisdictions, like Pennsylvania, for example, I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. A few years ago, they shortened the time that you have to wait for a divorce decree if under one of the statutes from 2 years to 1 year, because the courts realize people want to get on with their lives. So get educated. Your lawyer can help educate you, and ask them, what's next? That's okay. Ask, how long do you think that'll take? Don't have your lawyer agree to extensions of time unless there's a really good reason. A lot of times the other side will ask for an extension, but it's just a delay tactic. Now, we want to be courteous to each other, but You got to get your client out of this bad situation. And if you're the client, insist on that. We got to move this along. So there's a lot of things you can do to move the cases along. Some jurisdictions with which I'm familiar, some I practice, the courts won't allow an extension unless someone's in the hospital because they know it's a delay tactic and they want to move the dockets too. Another thing that'll move your case along, especially if you don't have children, is if you have a valid prenup. Then there's nothing to fight about. It's already been decided. So think about getting a prenup drawn up if you're thinking about getting married. But to answer the question, which is an excellent question, it can drag on if you let it, and your lawyer has to be dialed in. And lawyers get a reputation too. So if I'm entering my appearance in a case where the other lawyer is full of hot air, and there's a few, or if they're an excellent attorney and they return my calls and they'll reach out to me over the weekend with a response and they're interested in moving the case, that's a great combination because you get things done. All right? Hope that answers your question. Leave a comment. If you've been tripped up by a lawyer that just won't settle anything and you're drained of resources, leave a comment. Let's see if we can help educate other people. Like, subscribe. Love to have you as part of the community. And be careful out there.